Welcome. The Thing was released in 1982 and is directed by John Carpenter. It stars Kurt Russell and is about a group of American researchers researching in the Antarctic, where they discover something that they may not live to tell about. I am so excited to be doing this review because I absolutely love John Carpenter's The Thing. And this is hot, spicy take time, and we're going to be talking about it on the podcast soon, but The Thing is what I think is the greatest horror movie of all time. You heard it here first. That, boom, right there, just dropped it. I think it is the greatest horror movie of all time. Now, I think there are a lot of reasons to why I think that. And while I do think that, I do think that there are a few things that could be, a few little nitpicks with this movie that I have. But let's just start talking about the positives, because there is a lot of great things to talk about. So the first pro that I have with this movie is the way that it makes us as an audience fearful, which is through isolation. That is the biggest scare of this movie. It uses it to progress its plot. It uses it to scare our characters in the movie, and it's used to scare us as well. And I think it is done so well. I mean, there's just so many scenes in this just dull Antarctic where you know that they have no escape, that they can't do anything. There's a snowstorm outside. They can't escape the building. There's no radio service that's working right now. It hasn't been working. So there's no one they could talk to. They are isolated on their little Antarctic base, which already sets the stakes for something not good to happen. Because when stuff isn't working, not good things happen. And on top of that, you don't know who to trust. The paranoia is a huge part of this movie that is done very well. And I know that a lot of people will compare this movie to The Shining with its obvious similarities with the isolation and the paranoia and the snow and everything like that. And it's true, they should be compared. I think they're very similar in those respects, but I think that The Thing does it a little bit better than The Shining does, which is why I do hold it a little bit higher than The Shining. And another pro that I have with this movie, besides of course the isolation and the paranoia and all that, is the practical effect makeup done by Robin Button. Oh my god, is the makeup so great in this movie, and the practical effects and the, oh my god, is that a head coming out of a stomach? There is so many cool practical effects that are shown in this movie that are done so well, and it's so disgusting and nasty, but I squeal like a little girl every time I see it because it looks so freaking great, and just massive amount of respect for Robin Button for doing a lot of the practical effect makeup. And I know he probably had a team of great people who are also doing stuff, so just huge shout out to them. Now, I've already talked about the isolation and paranoia, and I've talked about how great the practical effects are in this movie. And now we go to the next thing that's amazing with it, and it's its acting. Kurt Russell does an amazing job as Mac. He is so iconic to this role, for me at least, and I think for a lot of other horror fans. He's pretty iconic. He's a very well-made character. You understand his motives. He's just what you want to have as a lead in your horror movie. He's someone who's not very selfish. He's just I just struggle for words because he's so many great things, and the movie does such a great job making him our main attraction to this movie. And also, he's beautiful in this movie, so I don't mind looking at him the whole time. And that isn't to say that some other performances aren't great. The actor who portrays Childs is great. Dr. Blair is great. I mean, the acting in this movie is one of the greatest strengths that any horror movie wants to have, and this movie has it. Now, I did say I do have a few nitpicks with this movie, and I think the first one that I should say is it could be a little bit boring for people who are first-time watchers. Now, I personally don't think that. I think that it kept me gripped the entire time. But I could see how people could be bored during the during the beginning of the movie, and I completely understand and can acknowledge that, but just watch the whole thing. It's great. You're gonna completely forget that the beginning of the movie is a little bit slow. You know, I'm trying to think of another nitpick that I have with this movie, and I just cannot for the life of me think of anything else bad to say about this movie. I think it is so amazing. I think that you'll enjoy it if you watch it, and even if you don't think that it's the greatest horror movie of all time, which I can understand. I know it's a hot, spicy take for me to think that, but I still think that you will really enjoy this movie. So, overall, I'd give The Thing a 10 out of 10, as it so deserves, because it is the greatest horror movie of all time, and I 100% recommend it. It is amazing. You're gonna love it. It's fantastic. And like I said, even if you don't think it's the greatest horror movie of all time, that's okay. Everyone has different opinions. You could think that The Shining is the best, or Psycho, or Sinister. There's so many other options. I don't know why I threw Sinister in there with the greatest of all time, but who knows? You might think that. I know people that think that Saw is the greatest horror movie of all time. I mean, you never know. So thank you everyone for watching this review, and be on the lookout for more reviews in the future. The next one is going to be Saw 4, where we're going to be having a segment of thoughts with Julia again. So be on the lookout for that. But let's flash forward to the next review.